the ones that I have met, usually, they don't go blabbing about it. It just comes out in conversation. And so it's very interesting how it's kind of like they keep it rather private. So today, as you guessed, I'm a sales guy and a consultant by profession, done that my entire career. And so I've always held myself as a consultant, whether I was selling or not. So that's where I come from. And I've done selling in a number of formats, throughout my career. And over time, what's happened is I evolved it into a system that I like to use. And now I talk about it. What happened along the way is out of college, I sold life insurance. And honestly, I didn't like it very much. And I quit. But me being a bit compulsive, I was confused about the selling process in that way. I thought it didn't work. It didn't feel authentic to me. So, okay, well, how do I solve this problem? How do I put together a system that really works more authentically? It only took me 40 years, but I figured it out. And so that is where I came up with the concept of transform your selling. So, so my last engagement in professional selling, for a company was with HP, Hewlett Packard. I was here in Colorado Springs, and my territory was San Diego. And I had a multi-million-dollar annual quota. I actually grew that territory from $250,000 a quarter to over $800,000 in about 18 months. And while I didn't keep track of my system at that point, once I started coaching, people started asking me about how to sell. So I realized that most everyone was saying, I need to close more business. And the intent with that was like, I need to improve my closing skills. When actually the issue is not there. It's about 2 or 3 steps earlier. So what I had to do is I had to figure out a way to show them that so that we could fix everything one step at a time, and they would get very successful rather quickly. So that became the 7 simple sales steps that I use. It's now kind of morphed into the 7-step selling system. What I want to do today is I want to actually have this be interactive. I want to work with you if you're okay with that. You guys good with that? So that's going to be some verbal stuff as well as me asking some questions. So let me throw a question out there in the chat, if you would. Type in, what's your biggest selling challenge? What is your biggest selling challenge? And I'll take a look and we'll see what we got here. Talking too much. Find clients to market to, prospecting, finding clients, qualified leads, close that first visit. Interesting. Okay. Close sooner. Charging what the service is worth. Too many details. Interesting. Let's talk to Laura. What do you mean by too many details?
I go into the minutia.
You go, okay.
Like how it works and why it works. For me, the details, the devil is in the details. And a lot of people, they don't care. And for me, that's where all the importance is.
You bet. But okay, can I talk about that one real quickly?
Sure.
Okay. No one cares about the details. No one cares. But I've enrolled hundreds of people in my classes. No one cares about the details. They want something. And I have to figure out what they want, right? And deliver it to them. That's all I care about. For example, when you go out to eat, do you care what spoon the chef used to put the vegetables on the plate? Yes or no? No, you don't care. If the server tells you that, you gotta go, so what? Move on. Just, I'm hungry. Give it up. Yes?
Well,
okay. Yeah. So you have to, so I think the trick for you, Laura, is you got to find a way to get through that, if you don't mind. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So there's
but I ask the details. So
okay. So what that tells me is Let me go through the presentation and you'll see where it's broken. Make sense? Okay, so I'm going to share my screen in a minute, but I wanted to cover this first. Talking too much before closing. Tell me about that, Lori.
Sometimes I think in trying to, and maybe it goes a little bit with the details too, because in trying to, I start already solving and coming up with ideas and doing that stuff before I'm doing the close, instead of just stopping, closing, waiting. And then it's almost like I start consulting before they're closed.
That's a classic mistake. It's classic. There's a simple way to handle that. Okay. What it involves is a hard swallow on your part, and then asking. Okay. Because you want to keep talking, and what you do is you talk people right out of it. When the flip on that should be, they should be talking themselves into it. Okay. So you're more of the, when you're talking too much, right? You're actually doing more of a push than a pull. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So we got to flip it so that people are saying, hey, tell me more. Make sense? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Joe Mattis, conversion to higher ticket offerings. That's interesting. Joe, tell me about that.
Yeah, what can I help clarify there?
Yeah. Well, I see it's like conversion to higher ticket offerings. Where do you get stuck?
I think part of where I'm getting stuck is I have kind of a tiered approach, and I provide a ton of value, and I think maybe too much homework in my first year.
You provide a ton of value in the first year. So how long do you work with clients?
It can be anywhere from a single session up to indefinitely.
Okay, I get it. I have clients like that as well. Okay, so hang on to that. We'll see how far I can get to handle that. And the fear of rejection, of course. Who here fears rejection? Okay, all right, good. So let me ask you another question. This is a show of hands question. Show of hands question. Who here loves to sell? When you can't wait to get up in the morning, right, and sell. Look around the room for those of you, right? One person, Marion, right? David, okay. It's rare I see that. Me, can I be honest with you? I don't like selling. I don't. Seems weird coming from a sales guy, doesn't it? So what I had to do is I had to find a way to flip it so that I could do what I like to do, which is help people. Love helping people. Because what does selling have involved? It involves prospecting, rejection, it involves pushing, cajoling, all that stuff, right? I don't like any of that stuff. I don't. Love talking with people. So how do I shape it so that it works for me? So let me just show you the let me show you my presentation. It's about, one second here while I get this thing set up. I'll share my screen. Okay, see my screen?
Yes.
Transform your selling. This is a system I created. It is strategic versus transactional. Transactional means you're just trying to get the deal, sell them something, and move on. When you're transforming the selling system, it's very easy. It's a framework I use to teach selling. It's a context to put things in so you can see the steps. Because a lot of people think that selling is like alchemy. It's like magic. It's not. It's a process. But you have to take it one step at a time. When I see people that struggle selling, they're usually not going one step at a time. They're trying to make magic all the time with it, which is very hard to do, by the way. The process follows a flow, it's effective, and it's collaborative, which means you're working with the client, right? And they're saying, oh, I want to learn about this. How do I do that? That's the kind of conversation to have. Yes? If you're not having that kind of conversation, you're out of sync with it. So with that said, let me take you through the steps. Okay. The first concept is you're going to sell step to step. And the first step is you get a lead. A lead is defined as someone who's raised their hand and said, I'm interested in your product or service. If they haven't said that, they're not a lead. Make sense? Okay. Next step is you're going to qualify the lead. Qualify means you're going to ask a series of questions to determine the fit between your product and service and their needs. If there's not a fit, it's not a fit. If you continue to go on and on, what you're doing is you're barfing on people, and you now can be accused of, and probably are, a pushy salesperson. When it should be the other way around. They should be asking you questions. Well, tell me how that works, how does this look, etc., which drives the conversation. Third step, present. Once you understand where the person is, what they want and need, and it matches your service or product, you can now present how you're going to solve the problem. You don't ever present until you know their needs. Make sense? Like this for yes, that for no. Okay. All right. And then once you present, you commit. There's going to be a commitment. Commitment has 3 flavors to it. Yes, no, tell me more. For this example, we're going to use yes because it's simpler. Okay. So they said yes. You asked for a commitment. They said, yes, I'm interested. Let's do this. So what's the next thing? Once they've committed, you're going to deliver. You are going to deliver whatever you promised. Okay. And you don't have to like under promise and over deliver. You just have to do what you say you're going to do. Do you know how rare that is? Just doing that. For example, if someone ever said, I'll call you on Thursday morning at 10 and they don't call. Yeah, if they call at 10, yippee. Well, look at this. They build credibility. That's your job. And let's go back to now. Next thing is you're going to follow up. Follow up, you notice, is 2 words. That means it's a verb. It's something that you do. What most people don't do is they don't follow up. Now, HP had a big client, and I called him and I sold him some stuff, some racks. He says, Jack, he's all pissed off at me. So what's up? He says, it was at the time that Compaq and HP were merging. So I said, Jack, the racks don't connect. I'm putting in big servers. You know, all the stuff you sold me, I'm putting it together. I need racks to connect. So, okay, the parts don't work. So, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll figure it out. Don't answer right now, but I'll figure it out. I'll call you every day. He says, okay, fair enough. So I found a senior rack guy. Right? He says, okay, Jack, I'll get you the parts. The next day he sends back a list with all the part numbers and then what they needed for each rack, to connect them together. I emailed that to my client along with the pricing. Right? I called him every day, told him where it was. Took a couple of days to do all this. Right? I never talked to him once. But I finally talked to him about 2 weeks later. He says, Jack, it works great. We're good. He went on to buy lots of stuff for me. Did I like making that call and hearing that what I sold him didn't work? I did not. Was it extra work for me? Yes, it was, but it paid off. Because when it turns out, I became a hero, which is a role I particularly like. And referrals. Referrals is the 7th step. Referrals and introductions. That's the result of your connection, the result of the work you've done with someone and building trust and credibility. Once you get referrals, the cycle starts again. So it looks like the first step in the lead is connecting. The major thing, the thing I didn't cover was the major objective when you are doing the lead is what? Is to connect with someone, not sell them something, just connect. As you connect with them, odds go up. If you don't, odds go way down. Make sense? So the next thing is, with referrals start to process again. And it simply repeats. If you don't follow up, the odds of getting referrals go down. So the 7-step selling system, here are the principles. You sell step to step. You connect at every step. Right? You're brave. It means you're going to follow up. You're going to ask the right questions at the risk of finding out they're not interested. But you have to find out, then you know what to do. You always respect the client. They're not a number. You respect them. You're searching for clarity. If something doesn't make sense when you ask a question, you ask for it. Ask about it. That doesn't make any sense. I saw it many times. It doesn't make any sense. They go, what? I said, you said this. It doesn't match up. I said, really? Really? And you have a conversation about it. And that's where the sale happens. Hunting your sweet spot. Your sweet spot is where your best customer lives. It's your target market. You need to spend time there. If you're not, you're having extraordinary trouble closing because they're not the right fit. And you always ask for referrals. Make sense? Now, I know I gave you a whole, I'm going to stop my share now. I know I gave you a whole lot to do, a lot to see. If you would like to get a copy of the 7 Simple Sales Steps with the graphic and the detail, in the chat, write 7 in there and put your email address, and I'll send it to you. So you'll get that. And as a gift, also send you my quote of the week. Okay, so with that said, let me check my notes, make sure I covered everything. So the 3 things I promised were eliminate the stress of inconsistent income. If you have your right target market and you're following the process, you will now start to eliminate that stress of inconsistent income because you're talking to the right people, you're asking the right questions, you're using a process. If you use the right process and you follow the steps, you're going to have it be consistent versus all over the place trying to get a sale and create magic. You're going to follow the process. And that brings consistency. When I find out, most of the time I see it with insurance agents, they'll find a way to get a sale. They think that's the way to do it. And they keep going, they struggle forever. When you follow the system, you'll see it works consistently. You'll be able to put the right people into your system. And usually if you skip steps, it's a mess. I had one person that actually my wife talked to, I gave the same talk several years ago. She said, I spent the whole year not qualifying. A whole year, not knowing. Step by step, improve your sales, even if you don't like selling. If you follow this process, you're not really selling. Well, you are, but it's not like you're pushing. You're asking questions, you're engaging, you're connecting the whole time. And for me, that's fun. I'm going to find out if someone's interested or not. If they're not interested, I'm okay with that. I'll move on. I got other things to do. I can go play pool. I'm good. And you'll learn how to effortlessly turn conversations into sales. Do you see how you can do it now? Following the system. It's got to follow the system. Avoid wasting time with people that never buy. You're going to know early. And you'll eliminate the stress of inconsistent income. You have a system now. Make sense? So with that, what I want to do is if you want a copy of the 7 Simple Sales Steps, I'm happy to send it to you, put it in the chat. I'll give you another something I'm doing coming up, and I'll put this in the chat in a few minutes. I'm doing a think tank coming up on January 17th. And I'll send you the information. That's where you get to come. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, Colorado time. It's at 10:30. And that's where we go through your biggest challenge in sales. And I spend a little time with you one-on-one for as many people as I can. Well, I'm almost sold out. So if you want to attend this time, or I'll do one next month. Go ahead and put that in the chat, and I'll be sure you're on the list for it.
I'd like to just pipe in here and say I've gone through 2 of those with Jack, those think tanks, and I found them really helpful because not only does he provide advice, we are allowed to chime in ourselves to give perspective to other people, and he asks us what we get out of it. It's also a great networking opportunity, and it's free. So one of the things I like about Jack is how he has these different tiers. Okay, this is free. This is going to cost $97 a month. This will be more. So Joe, you especially want to talk to him about, that whole going up, tiering up. Joe Maddox says.
Because one of the things that I love to do is I love to put a tiered pricing model together with people, right? That makes the most sense. because then they can, they have this, people can pick from something. They can pick one of the options versus do nothing, especially when I do it with insurance agents. They're used to trying to persuade you to buy this one thing they put together. If they have 3 options for you, now which one do you want? You can mix and match, and you can make something up for them with the client. And people love to buy, they love to figure it out. Make sense? Even financial advisors. Now, the same thing. Give them a choice of what plan they want. So with that said, let me open it up for Q&A. Who has a burning question? You can raise your hand and I'll call on you and you can ask your question. You're not going to play Stump the Presenter? Oh, Michael, of course. Michael.
So, Jack, I guess for me, what I'm looking to do right now, the consulting contracts are a little hard to get in terms of the computers, but I do one-on-one trainings with individuals for spreadsheets, databases, that sort of thing. I have a couple venues in terms of where to acquire students, but for my type of thing, it's not like I could just go, get these little, 11 by 16 signs and like stamp them on the ground outside of my neighborhood and say, Excel instructor, then my number. So I guess for me, I'm trying to come up with some new ideas of where to possibly acquire students. So what I'm doing now is I have Wisant, which is a tutoring site. So I'm getting some students through them that, maybe I can get referrals. The problem with that is they take 25% from me. So that's a nice chunk. The second venue I haven't gotten started yet, but I'm hoping to do so in the next 2 weeks, is I already have a reserved YouTube channel. I have a reserved website, and I want to start putting videos out there and to start attracting clients through YouTube videos to say, if you want some more help, let's just schedule a time via Zoom and I'll train you right there and then in person. And, you'll get what you need out of that session. And basically, I'm more than happy to always throw in a guarantee. If I can't help you, I don't charge you. So that's what I've done universally with all my students. If for some reason it's a bad fit, I never ever charge the student. I'm like, hey, we're writing that one off. But other than those 2 ideas, I'm trying to get an idea where can I find people in a specific, it's not a specific market because it's all industries, but it's a very specific skill.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say about that. There's a couple of things. One, what I put together, this is like 30 years ago, I put this together, called Find Your Niche. And the Find Your Niche course is about finding the profile of your best customer. And you do have a profile for that.
Yes.
Okay. Now, usually, there are certain industries that you resonate with, that you click with, that you love to do more business in.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to stay tight to them because it's easy, et cetera. For example, I don't do retail. I just don't like it. I mean, yes, I go to retail places, but I don't want to coach retail people. I've tried a couple of times and I just found it not to be my cup of tea, please. So you hunting there, and then you're doing the videos. Because I'll tell you this quick story. We have a 2005 Jeep Liberty, and I'm a car guy, love cars, and I've changed my spark plugs for years. So time to change the spark plugs. So I went to the Jeep. How hard can it be? You look at the big black wires. You see where you take this plug out, put the plug in. Not that hard. Open the hood. Look for the big black wires. No big black wires. So, I'm screwed. So I went to Google, change spark plugs in Jeep Liberty 2005. I saw a video. Turns out the spark plugs are not on the side, they're on the top. And now what they don't have a coil anymore. They have 2 wires that go into a coil pack that's on top of each spark plug. For the user who don't understand cars, this is like talking Chinese, right? Right. So it turns out you have to take the coil pack off, and now the spark plug's inside this tube about 6 inches down. Once I saw the video, I went, damn, that's easy. Open the hood.
Yep.
There, I changed all my spark plugs. So I'm a big fan of videos, how-to videos. I do it all the time to solve problems. So you're doing the Excel videos, especially with hot topics that people commonly have questions about, right? Like an Excel, I still don't know how to do, the pie chart thing. You know, where you take the data and put it in the pie chart. I mean, yes, I know Excel, I can spell it, I can move around in it, but if you ask me to do that, I'd be like, no, I need to call somebody because I don't know. Okay, but that's useful for, you know, for a graphic look.
Right.
Here's another dramatic thing. I suggested this to my Taekwondo instructor. You can go out and stand on a street corner, right? And he's a black guy. I was going to dress him in a yellow chicken suit and get an arrow saying free Taekwondo today and stand outside the street corner, you know, with the arrows, right? He never did that, right? He found other ways to do the marketing. So I'm not sure I would do it, but that was just my threat to him. He was only a 7th degree black belt when I told him that. So and I was a white belt, by the way. So so that's there for you. Was that helpful, Michael?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
Looks like Maria has her hand up. Maybe you see that, Jack?
I did not see it.
Okay,
Maria?
so yeah, I think you had a question, Maria. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, yeah, thanks, Jack. I find just generating leads is tricky. I know that my niche right now, at least, seems to be women around my age, like 55 to 65, when I'm talking about advanced care planning. So, I guess I don't want to preach to the unconverted and try to convert them. I know that's not the thing to do. But I'm even having problems getting people to just pay for a $45, 2-hour workshop online, because what I'm dealing with is death and and education around death and dying, and it's hard. So I guess part of it is really my marketing before I can even generate those leads. And I'm just having a hard time figuring that out.
Yeah. I would say that David probably has the same kind of issue. Yes,
Yeah.
David?
No,
No.
I actually
No.
don't. Used
People
to
die.
when I was working in the conventional funeral world.
Mhm.
But Maria, do you know Gail Rubin?
Yeah.
She uses a lot of humor
Yeah.
to break down those barriers about people's reluctance to talk about their own mortality.
Right.
And I've kind of copied her in that regard in some ways.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then I have to figure out how to be funny.
And
Toastmasters really helps.
Toastmasters International is a great way to do that. Only about 30% of us do any kind of end of life planning at all.
Right.
Creating a will, a trust, healthcare proxies. So really, our audience is only about 30% of the population,
Mhm.
because the rest of them we can't help. They'll never get it. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, thanks. I know I host a free death cafe as well once a month, but there's few people who turn up online for that. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
So let me be straight up with you. I don't like the term death.
Hmm.
Okay. And yes, my wife and I, are having conversations now about our wills. But I tell you, getting us to sit down and talk about our wills, I mean, we'll go out to breakfast in a heartbeat, talk about the wills. It's like, it's tough. It's a tough conversation. But now when you look at how David presents it, like end of life stuff, right? And the future after that, that's more palatable to me. Because I don't, God forbid something happens to me, it's going to happen. But, I know that I can't avoid it. The Dalai Lamas can't avoid it. But here's the point is that, I want to be sure she's taken care of, and things are easy as possible. And she wants the same for me. God forbid something happens, so now with that said, here's something that I learned years and years ago. And when I was doing the EST training, that was the forerunner of all the.
Yeah.
And so what Werner Erhard said was, okay, how do you get the freeway? How do you get people on the freeway to go south? How do you get people on the freeway to go south? So who has some ideas for that?
Close the northbound lanes.
Close the northbound lanes. What else?
Wrong way. Do
Wrong
not
way.
enter.
Turn around, you morons, right?
Do not
Make an
enter.
incentive for going south.
What was that?
Find an incentive for people to go south.
Yes.
Free buffet, free buffet.
Free buffet with an arrow. Yes, we would stop at in Las Vegas for that. We're going skiing. We stopped there as a stop.
Free
Okay.
coffee, free tea, yeah.
So here's the real answer. You stand on the southbound freeway and you say, go south. So what I'm meaning by that, Maria, is
Yeah.
people that want to talk about end of life, they're going to raise their hands and talk to you about it. They're interest dead. If they're not, they won't. So as cold as that sounds, those are the people you want to talk to.
Can I make a contribution if that's okay with you?
For a nickel.
Seriously though, I'm going to pop this information in the chat, but one of my local radio stations has a program every Sunday morning. It's called Avoid Probate. And I'm wondering if you might want to consider the idea about going on different podcasts and talking about the necessity, and this is going to sound sterile, please forgive me, the benefits and the value of people opting into your service.
Yeah.
Little bit of a personal note here. My boyfriend passed away nearly 4 months ago, and I'm in the process of settling his estate right now. And it's gotten me thinking. I've since acquired a power of attorney. I'm in the process of updating my own will, that sort of thing. But people don't think about end of life until it's practically looming over top of you. And I'm just wondering if this podcast, which I've just popped into the chat, it is Canadian based, but I'm wondering if you might get some ideas in terms of how to promote and maybe even appear on a few podcasts in terms of the necessity of the services that you offer.
Thanks so much for that. I will look into that. I have spoken on IG Lives, a couple of different ones, and I'm part of a couple of platforms as well. One being, I don't know, you guys need to know this, Pick My Brain. Check out Pick My Brain, worldwide brains who offer their services and just coffee chats. It's very interesting. But thank you. I'll look at that. And yeah, I know it's I always choose really tricky things for people to to try, as a service. All my life I've done that. So there you go.
Yeah. And so one thing, and quickly in closing, Maria, you may want to meet people that handle people, pardon me, that talk with people about their estates.
Mhm.
There's estate planning attorneys. There is financial advisors, life insurance people.
Mhm.
With them, you're going to find some that have those conversations with people and would be interested in having a deeper conversation about the planning of it. So but also you have to if you just I think you use the phrase end of life and start to change your phraseology and you make it in a more powerful way, I think it's going to help you.
Well, it doesn't actually. That's what I use, that terminology. And us in this industry right now are trying to figure out the correct terminology, not to scare people away. And end of life is scary for people to hear because they don't want to think about their end of life, or they assume that you mean you're helping them plan how to do it. So, so yeah, it just depends, right?
Yeah, I get it, but so that's something to sort through. I don't honestly, I don't have a ready answer for you, but just work with that. You got to work with it a bit to tinker with it.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. If you bring that topic to the think tank, you might get some fresh ideas as well. Yes.
Can I share something real quick? So I'm with Legal Shield, and we do offer wills to our members. And I have to say, when COVID hit, we would do will webinars, and the attendance was amazing. I don't know if you could try something like that, if you have any way to do that, Maria. But that, saying get your will done, is your estate in order, kind of gets them going down the path that you need to have so that you can have the discussion with them you need to have. Yeah. But that was very successful. Now, I did it through groups because I work with a lot of groups. Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to share that because I know that starting with the will webinar, we got tremendous participation.
Thanks. Yes, I've been to one and online. So with a different Legal Shield person in Canada. So yeah, I've tried free workshops, but still people have a hard time.
Financial planners are awesome for that too. I highly
Yeah,
recommend talking to financial planners.
I will hit them up. Thank you.
Yeah, I think referral partners like that. Laura, we're just
Yeah.
about to wrap up. Do you have something really quick here?
Well, one quick comment. When I was an insurance salesperson, one of the things people don't think about is not when you're dead, but if you're incapacitated
Yeah.
and you're in the hospital and you can't make those decisions.
Mhm.
You can't pay the mortgage, you can't pay the gas, you can't pay the water. You need to have a notebook of all your goodies so that whoever's your designated person can come in to your home and go, okay, this is the account number. We need to get this paid here. Okay, this is the account number. We need to pay that.
Yeah.
And I still have that notebook going.
Good, good, because that's what I help people do as well.
Okay, so I want to wrap this up. First off, a huge round of applause for Jack. Yay!
Okay.
Such a helpful, keep it simple, think of the basics. I'm working on that qualifying all the time. We had a little bit of a late arrival. Alex, if you want to do a very quick intro of yourself, you want to come up, unmute your video if you can, or at least verbally say hello. Alex Moore, you want to introduce yourself, please? Maybe not. Could have stepped away. At any rate, I did want to make sure to introduce next month's speaker, February 14th. I just consulted with Jack and changed my title because I'm the speaker. It's Valentine's Day. So instead of 3 reasons why I love LinkedIn, I'm going to go with how to have a love affair with LinkedIn. You like that? Okay, that told me something right there. Like sometimes when I talk about Madison, Wisconsin, Jennifer, I think she had to leave. I love Madison like you could love a lover. They'll go, really? I think I better get there, So that's next month. Be there, be square. It's in the chat. Be sure to save your chat. Love to have you all back next time. Bring a friend. It's really, I feel we've kicked off the year so well. So thanks to my regulars. There's so many, especially Lori Dubois, know me from day one. It's just the 6th year of this LinkedIn, of this meetup group, I mean. So isn't that cool to start something and still be all excited and having turned 74, which I'm very proud of. I like the sound of that more than 73, actually. So I'm rocking and rolling my life, and let's hope we all do that. And just thank you so much, Jack. So hope you connect with him, take his class, go to his groups. He rocks. Have a good month.
Thanks, Jack.
Yes,
You're welcome.
so great. See everybody.
Thanks, Joy.
Yeah, peace. Peace is good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Jack, hang out just for a minute before you go, because I just want to chat. If we could just say how much I appreciate you.
Peace out, folks. Bye.
Bye, Laura. Bye, Diane. Good to see you, Diana. See you at the Wheatrich thing. Yay. Cool. So that, Jack, I think one of the best things about your talk was that you kept it so concise and so basic. So and it was like when the woman brought up the point about the details, and you're like, people don't care about the details. And to me, then you were a spokesperson, whatever, you modeled that by not getting into the weeds and by having all that give and take. So I hope it felt okay to you. Did you like being here?
Oh, I loved it. It was easy. It was fun to work with people. So, I'm thrilled about it.
Great. That would be awesome. Feel free to write me a recommendation on LinkedIn about it.
Sure.
I maybe already wrote me a recommendation. Yeah, because I mentioned when we do PBN, I had a lull in the action of this group. I was about 2 years into it, like 5 people would show up. And actually COVID in a way has been a gift to me, because then building this world online and having people like Marion come from the Toronto area, it's really amazing.
Yeah.
But then each time we have a little different configuration, sometimes a lot, because here we had several people who'd never come before. So some come just for the topic, and some kind of like to hang out on a regular basis.
Yeah. And we have found that to be true. People
Yeah.
come to the topic,
Oh, yeah, with PBN, yeah.
yeah, which makes sense.
Mhm.
So there's a combination of people who come because they want to connect and other people
Right,
come for the topic. So I get it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so,
you like the talk?
yes, it was fabulous. The one
Okay.
question I had is, I mean, typically, but it's up to you. With the permission of the presenter, I will send the slide deck. When we're still recording here, my bad. Okay, I don't want to end. I need to end the recording. Okay, I want to stop the recording to the